control.
Hi guys, thank you very much for attending this press conference today about WBO Heavyweight World Champion Joseph Parker. We appreciate your patience that you haven't heard from us from a couple of weeks, but we like to take pride in the fact that when we do call a press conference we have something to say. What I would like to say just before I introduce David Higgins is that it has been a remarkable year for Duco. Just talking to my colleagues as we were setting up the day this morning. And this time last year we were looking at the Ruiz fight and we were trying to get Jeff Horn on the card against Ali Fanica, and we didn't know really what was happening when it came to Joseph taking on Ruiz. In fact, we were in Vegas this time last year, but we were a bit concerned about how much weight Andy Ruiz had lost, and it was a 50-50 fight, as Kevin said. And roll on 12 months, this company has done something quite remarkable. In 7 years we have gone for 2 world titles and we have 2 world champions. So the future is extremely bright. To think that we've come this far in 12 months and the options that are on our table come for 2018, both with Jeff Horn, with Pacquiao and Terence Crawford, which are 2 massive fights, as you well know, and also Joseph Parker and where his career is heading. So without further ado, I am going to pass you along to David Higgins, our promoter and our director, and he will fully update you on the situation where Joseph Parker is regarding his WBO heavyweight title and what we're looking at in 2018.
Okay, hey, thanks guys for being here, and as Craig said, yes, it's crazy to think what's been achieved in the past year, you know, going from no New Zealander holding that world title belt to having 2 world champions and only 2 boxers we promote, so good to reflect on that. Since the Fury fight, it has been a while since we've properly updated you. We were initially hoping to get a fight out in December, but it's all about doing the right fight at the right time for the right money, and you don't want to trifle with that world title when you've done so much to earn it. So, you know, with Fury, we got the win, we got paid, they taught us every trick in the book. So that experience up in Manchester, the mandatory, we've learned commercially and, you know, in and out of the ring a lot of tricks, and it's made us a lot stronger going forward. In the end, with time running out for December, Joseph wanted to be here for his daughter's first birthday, and it just made sense to take a bit more time and look to the new year. So we've got several options on the table that we're considering as a team for the first or second quarter of the year. The first option is Lucas Brown of Australia. He's a former world #1. I believe he won the WBA world title at some point. He's unbeaten, and obviously that would be a massive Trans-Tasman rivalry. We've been in talks now for a few weeks with his promoters, Hatton Promotions, and in principle there's largely terms agreed, so we could sort of look at pushing the go button on that fight if we decided it was the right option. Another option we have is Bob Arum, our promotional partner, gave me a phone call a couple of weeks ago saying he's got a business associate in China who's a very, very solid operator, an American guy in China who does have credentials and money, and they wanted to look at staging a heavyweight title fight out of China, Parker versus Zhang Zili, who's a big 6'6" Chinese heavyweight, and you know that would be a pay in the early to mid millions of dollars, and it would be probably in the second quarter if we took that option. Another option we're looking at again is with our promotional partner Top Rank. Bob Arum, who I spoke to a couple of hours ago, has a date booked in Las Vegas, which is March 10, to be streamed live on ESPN. And the opponent would be Brian Jennings, so that option is available to us now if we want to select that option. Then you have Povetkin out of Russia, who's trying to make himself the mandatory, and you know, so that option will become alive sort of mid-year, and there's a lot of money has been paid for boxing in Russia in recent years, so that's another exciting and potentially lucrative opportunity. The Japanese opportunity, we've struck that off the list for now. We found them to be polite and respectable, and there were no issues with their intentions. The problem is they couldn't quite get enough money to bring Joseph to Japan, and so our message to Fujimoto is to keep working away at sponsors and TV, and if they can mount a credible good offer in the future, we'd certainly look at them. And then finally, that brings us to Joshua, and probably the most newsworthy thing for you guys today is that Eddie Hearn and I started gently exchanging emails, a week ago or whatever, and then we sort of agreed a couple of days ago. He said, I said go talk to Anthony. He said he'll talk to Anthony Joshua. I said I'll talk to Joseph Parker. So we both sort of connected again yesterday, and my message was Parker would fight Joshua next, and Hearn's message was Anthony Joshua would fight Parker next. So it's really down to a question of the deal and money. And a few notes on that. The last undisputed world champion, certainly in the public mind, was Lennox Lewis. And when there is an undisputed champion, public interest in the sport soars, because there's no argument over who is the top boxer in the world, and so it captures worldwide public imagination. So we think the potential unification of Joshua has special public interest and a higher value. So it's not just about money, and if the Joshua side are going to treat us like a regular voluntary, then it probably won't happen yet. But if they really want to unify and take advantage of that opportunity and make a fair and reasonable deal, then we're ready. I'd like to pay credit to Parker and Joshua for wanting to unify. Under the recent times, a lot of the heavyweights for some reason haven't wanted to. They want to sit on their one belt, protected. It's hurt the sport. Public interest waned over that period. I think we back ourselves against Joshua. Deontay Wilder is trying to build his Joshua fight by sort of trash talking. We prefer to stick to facts. And a few of the facts are that Joshua has been laid out on his back more than once. Klitschko put him down, Dillian White nearly put him down. There's rumours around sparring, and I think it might have been confirmed he's been put down there. Joseph Parker's never been off his feet as an amateur or a professional or in sparring. So you have to say Joseph has a better chin than Anthony Joshua, and therefore if they're going to walk forward and trade, you've got to say that Joseph could put Joshua down. Look, our message to the Joshua campers, we'll take the fight, but the deal has to be respect Joseph having earned a genuine world title and be a fair deal. Okay.
All right, I'm going to open up for questions. There'll be no one-on-ones today, but Joseph is available to talk about what is David has just discussed, and obviously Kevin is here. We haven't spoken about that Takam fight that Joshua fought recently, and we also haven't spoken about the fact that Wilder beat Stavern at the weekend in the first round, and as you well know, Joseph used to spar with Berman Stavern. We'll make one fact that Eddie Hearn said a couple of weeks ago that it's a hard fight taking on Carlos Takam in your 20th fight. Just like to point out that Joseph Parker took him on in his 19th fight, and when he did, he was 817 days younger than Anthony Joshua. All right, questions?
David, you can go back to the mics. How comfortable, what sort of split would you be comfortable with fighting Joshua?
I think the starting point for negotiation is obviously 50-50, but we would acknowledge that Joshua, if the fight was to happen in his home nation, he's got a big fan base. So if you're going to vary off 50-50, it might go a little his way, but not a lot.
And in a perfect world, would Joseph fight March and then Joshua mid-year? What do you think?
Well, I think what we're saying is that Joseph Parker and Anthony Joshua have signalled that they potentially fight next, as in March, April.
David, just listing all these other fights, just you putting a bit of leverage on Eddie Hearn, saying you've got other options if he doesn't give you the right cash?
No, because we actually do have other options if he doesn't give us the right cash.
But is that your preferred option to be fighting Joshua?
Only if the money's right.
Will you hold off signing anything else until you get a firm yes or no from Joshua?
Well, the parties are in negotiations, and if we feel it sort of disrespects us and isn't fair value, then we will go in another direction. And the fans are always going to want to see that fight, and it might be that it happens the second quarter, or might be it happens in another year.
Last week Eddie Hearn said he wasn't sure what planet you were on and wanted to go there for a weekend. Have negotiations got a bit better since then?
Yeah, well, I put some banter out there, after the Fury fight, and look, we say what we say in the media, but we're quite respectful of each other, and he seems quite straightforward and good to deal with.
David, on another matter, has the Duco dissolution occurred, and yes or no, has that been a distraction for you guys?
Look, we're not really here to talk about that. It's just business as usual. If something occurs, it'll happen at the right time, but we're really here to talk about Joseph Parker.
What do you want to do, Joseph, in terms of your next fight?
I want to fight Joshua. He's got 2 belts, 1 belt. I want to test his chin and put on a great show. That's what I want to do. I actually want to get those belts as well, but he said he wants to unify the belts. There's Wilder, and then there's me. So I'd like to fight next.
Do you think a Brian Jennings or a Lucas Brown in the meantime would just be a key busy fight?
I think if we don't make the fight happen, then those fights would be good just to sort of keep busy. Even though they are good fighters, I think I can. I know I can beat them, but the ultimate fight is fight him or Wilder. But Joshua's like the preferred option for us.
Has Joshua become much more of a possibility, and soon, given what happened against Tackett for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think his performance wasn't the best. I think when I fought Tackett, he said that if you fought Tackett, he'll knock him out. I think it was an early stoppage. I think that Tackett on 12 days' notice did really well. I think if he had more notice, he probably would have given more trouble. And so I think after that performance, it's like, let's get it on.
David, another question for you, if you can sit back in. What about another fight for Joseph here, or are those options being extinguished?
No, certainly not. Like, if we had a look at Lucas Brown, we'd have a look at every city in New Zealand and Australia. So, and I mean, to the earlier question, every heavyweight can knock out another heavyweight. Lucas Brown can bang, so that's actually a dangerous fight. And then sometimes more dangerous if you're accepting less money for a guy that can bang. It's better to accept big money. It's all risk and return. Wilder's also an option. Now, Camp did have some communication with Wilder, and again, if the Wilder crew put the right amount of money on the table, and we do talk to Al Heyman and Lou DiBella, if they put the right amount of money on the table, we'd segue that way and go Wilder instead of Joshua. So I guess, and Eddie should understand all of this, and if he puts a fair and reasonable deal on the table, then we might be in business.
Would the financials add up for another fight here, though?
Well, it depends on what you're paying the boxers, but provided the boxers are being paid the right amount and and then you have a reasonable lead time to get sponsors on board. In Australia, cities and governments sometimes invest money in events. In New Zealand, it would be nice to see similar support, and so anything's possible.
March, April means an indoor venue likely. If you were to go to Britain, there'd be a smaller venue.
Well, Kevin Barry pointed out to me earlier that when Joshua fought Klitschko, it was April, I believe, in Wembley. So, those British fans in football games, they sit in stadiums in winter. So, I mean, if it was sooner, then indoor would be ideal. But if it was going out to April, then it opens up some outdoor options.
David, you mentioned Povetkin before, and let's assume he becomes mandatory for Joseph's belt. Being that a lot of strange things happen in Russia, would you feel nervous about having to take that fight in what would likely be in Russia?
No, because it's not voodoo. Strange things happen everywhere in boxing. Look at Manchester. They tried a lot of tricks, so as long as you're aware of it and can contract away the risk. For example, in contracts, I'll be looking at officials and trying to make sure that we're not robbed by officials. Kevin would be really careful about food and water and security, and you take that approach into any country. So you can't be scared of going to Russia. If the money's right, you go to Russia, but you take every precaution.
What's your cut-off to get a deal cut?
There is no cut-off. It's a moving feast. We'll do a deal when it's the right deal.
Is Joseph's deal with you as a promoter long-term-ish?
Do you mean the handshake or the contract?
The contract.
I think it has another year and a quarter. I'm not sure. I don't look at it very often.
Will you, if the fight is in the UK, will you behave this time?
Look, I think my behaviour put that last fight on the map. and if I need to pull a stunt again to put the fight on the map, I'll consider it. You can only do that once a year though, or people start to think you're a bit crazy.
Just bring Kevin in, just your thoughts. We haven't spoken about the tackle fight against Joshua.
Well, firstly, I think it needs to be said that Lucas Brown is definitely not a key busy fight. Lucas Brown is one of the biggest punchers in world heavyweight boxing. In fact, I would have him with his record 25-0 with 22 KOs, probably in the top 5 biggest punchers in the heavyweight division. When he won the WBA title, fighting Shagayev in Shymkent, he was behind on all judges' cards, only to knock him out in the later round. So it's a guy that keeps his power right throughout a fight. It's definitely not a keep busy fight. This is a fight that's a very dangerous fight, and a fight that we look at as a perfect lead-in to somebody like Anthony Joshua. Now, talking about Joshua, I just want to say that his performance against Carlos Takam really puts everything into perspective now. A lot of people over the last 12 months have looked at Joe's performances, and because we haven't knocked our last couple of opponents out for various reasons, have said, oh, Anthony Joshua will just walk across the ring and knock Joseph Parker out. Now, when we saw Eddie Hearn, which I thought was a tremendous bit of promotional work, signing Takam on 12 days' notice, a guy that has been widely known in boxing circles, had done no sparring whatsoever, had tested Anthony Joshua right to the end. We all saw how gassed Joshua was. We all saw that Joshua could not hurt Takam, and it was a very, very promoter-friendly stoppage. That fight showed me once again that Anthony Joshua is very, very beatable. He definitely has a stamina problem. He definitely cannot knock you out with one punch. It's a guy who has to put several big, heavy punches together. He's very robotic. He doesn't have a very good selection of lead patterns, and I think the guy is there for the taking, and I want us to get in front of him before someone else beats him.
So you'd be happy for that to be the next fight, Kevin?
Look, if the business is right, and Joe's happy with the business, and Dave's happy with the business, then I'll be happy to prepare and train Joe to fight Joshua.
Kevin, you've come down to train Joe in New Zealand. Can you talk us through the rationale behind that?
Well, you know, once we decided that we weren't going to take a fight in December, which, you know, looked likely for a while, but then we were unable to cut a broadcasting deal. So, you know, Joe is the WBO world champion. He can't be on holiday for too long. He's had 6 weeks off. It was time for me to come down and do some work with him. As you all know, over the last 4.5 years, Joe has spent 7 to 8 months of the year living with me in Las Vegas. But this was an opportunity for Joe to spend a bit of time with his family, an opportunity for him to spend time with his sponsors, and most importantly, an opportunity for him to spend time with his daughter, who he has missed a lot over the last year. And it was Elizabeth's birthday yesterday, so it was great that Joe was here for that. The day before that was Joe's mum Sal's birthday. So these are things that he's been missing, you know, year after year through being in camp. So it was just the right thing for me to do, to come down. We've put together a 6-week camp that will see us breaking camp probably on about the 16th of December. Joe will be in really good shape by then. In a couple of weeks' time, we'll invite you all along to training, and you can watch him work out. And he'll have Christmas, New Year off, a bit of time off for his birthday, and then him and I will head back to Vegas to go into training camp the 2nd week in January.
Were you concerned he was putting on a bit too much weight between fights? I know he put on.
Are you telling me you think Joseph's fat? Just come out and say it. Do you think he's fat or not? Did we say that?
I think you said in the media.
Come over here and say that.
I think you said in the media that he put on a bit too much bulk and lost a bit of speed.
I think it's muscle.
No, I'll tell you what, it's a very, very good question. And moving forward, I think, you know, we've actually done a couple of things that we thought were right, that probably didn't work in our best favour. Joe and I have had a lot of discussions about this, and I think 2018 we'll see Joseph Parker back fighting in the high 230s, 106, 107. We'll see him throwing a lot more punches. We'll see him a lot more mobile, and we'll see his hands punching a lot faster. All things that we were used to seeing over the last few years. So, you know, we'll be going back to the young man that got us all the way to the title.
What are you weighing at the moment, Joe?
My weight at the last fight was 111. I think I'm still the same.
And if you believe that, you believe anything.
David, how do you keep Lucas Brown sort of on the line? He's sort of ready to go. I spoke to him yesterday. He's aware of the Joshua fight and understands that's obviously a big deal if you can put it together. But do you put a contract in front of him that has an exit clause or things like that?
We could look at that. I mean, in boxing, everyone's self-interested really, so Lucas should do what he thinks is the right thing for him at the time, and if that means taking another fight, that's what he should do. However, he should be aware that there may well be a world title shot on offer. I mean, we're in negotiation with Joshua, but we know what we want, and if that's not forthcoming, then Lucas might get the call. But we did talk about what you suggested as an option. But like I said, we've got various other options. The Chinese option is actually a damn good one, and the money's good, and it's solid. So we don't feel under any pressure. We're just sort of running due diligence, trying to figure out what the best deal is for Joseph Parker.
Is Wilder an option at all?
Yes, we speak to their camp, and they've actually put a figure on the table, which I won't divulge. It wasn't enough, but you know, if they've got some very wealthy backers behind them, and if they put the right amount of money on the table, we'd go to America and fight Wilder. I think Stavern, it's hard to judge his performance. Stavern made him look good in a way because he looked good, but Stavern was so out of shape and didn't really throw any punches. So just sort of like I said, it'd be like me fighting Wilder.
David, if you can't get Eddie Hearn to the number that you want this time round, or Wilder, how do you get them there in the future?
Well, you build. Like, if they want to unify now, and they talk a good game, they say they want to unify. So if Eddie Hearn and Joshua want to unify, they'll pay more than they might otherwise. If they're purely about the money, they'll take some easy voluntary and pay them little and make more money. But if they want to unify, they'll pay more. And the other thing is, and if not, we can go down our own road. Like if we beat a Wilder, say, then suddenly we've got more bargaining power in the Joshua deal. And so really it's up to them putting an attractive enough offer on the table.
Would you go back to Britain again for a non-Joshua fight to continue building the profile in the UK, or?
I think we have to take the right fight. Just to go take a fight just because it's in a certain market is a bit back to front. Of course we want to build in the UK, but we've got to take the right fight wherever it is.
I mean, Tyson and Joe seem to be getting on quite well by the end of that weekend.
Yep, he seems like a nice guy.
Do you know what he prefers? Does he prefer fighting Joe or sorry, Joshua, does he prefer fighting Joe or a voluntary?
Well,
at this point?
It'll come, if they're about the money, they'll do a voluntary, but if they're about the respect of unification, they'll fight Joseph.
Lucas says he's signed a deal and is waiting on Joe, is that?
There's no deal signed at all. We've loosely agreed terms in principle. We've got a contract ready to send them. That's where that's at the moment.
Could Anzac Day or Anzac Weekend be an option?
That's an interesting idea.
Kevin, you've obviously got a bit of time up your sleeve now at the training camp and not taking a fight before Christmas. Ideally, what time would you like to know who you're going to be fighting?
Oh, I'd like to know this week. But whether it's going to happen this week, I doubt. The sooner we know, the sooner we can really focus on the person that's going to be in front of us. But the most important thing for me and Joe over the next 6 weeks is that we get some good work in. We have Joe in good shape coming into Christmas, which means he's back on his diet, he's back on his vitamins and supplements, he's running in the morning, he's resting a little more than what he was. And let's remember, Joe's still a young fella, he's 25, but it's sometimes he runs around like a 21-year-old.
I feel 21.
And I tell you, so when I was talking about his weight and all that before, look, we don't have a weight problem or anything like that. Joe is a young man that likes his time off. He trains very, very hard when he's in the gym. He's very disciplined, very focused. And when he has time off, he likes to treat himself. And he's got a sweet tooth. He likes his chocolate, likes his burgers. We all know that. He's just like any other young fella.
Joe, just back to what Kevin was saying before about you being a bit heavier or not at your optimum speed, for instance. You obviously train hard with Joe and Fury. What was sort of missing, do you think, once you got into the ring, or was there anything missing?
I think just there's a lot of things that happen in the background and a few things that we're trying to work on. So I think with future fights you won't see the same performances. You see it'll be a lot better.
Joe, how important has it been you see you back, you've been able to back for certain engagements that you've missed in the past? How important is that for you to be able to camp here in New Zealand and be able to be there for those?
Oh, it's very important. For me, it's great to be around family. It's just to be back in New Zealand for a while. It's I think this is the first time we've actually had a camp here. So I'm excited to be down here to spend time with the family and friends, but also to be getting work. So I'm very happy that Kevin's here. I look forward to all the training sessions together to get back into fantastic shape.
Kevin, will you do any sparring, or will it just be fitness this next camp?
There's only one guy that he's going to spar with, and it's Dean Lonergan.
Can you sell tickets to that? Or?
It's a sellout.
All right, I think we're done. Hey, thank you very much for your attendance today. We will be proactive in letting you know if things change in any way. Andrew, if you could just take some still photos, I'll just give you guys to take your camera, your microphones away. I appreciate your time today.
I was going to say, in my mind, I was going to say you.
First there, Joe, for us here, Kev, we'll put the first here. Right. Thanks, guys. Cheers. David and Joe, just for a couple of here. There we go. Just, yeah, there we go. Thanks, guys. Right. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Can I just grab just one minute? Just if you bring your other hand up onto the... Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Cool.
Great to get Joe. Just do it first as well, just with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Andrew.
Good stuff. Yeah. Right.
Thanks, guys.
Good. Come forward a couple of steps. There you go, great. First there, Joe, for us here, Kev. We'll put the first here. Right. Thanks, guys. Cheers. David and Joe, just for a couple of here. There we go. Just, yeah, there we go. Thanks, guys. Right. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Can I just grab just one minute? Just if you bring your other hand up onto the... Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Cool.
Great to get Joe. Just do it first as well, just with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Andrew.
Good stuff. Yeah. Right. Good.
Thanks, guys.
Good.